Hello everyone, this is BRAD, and today we're going to be looking at how to constrain drawings. And in previous videos, we've mostly looked at using this dimension constraint that controls the size of geometry. But there's a bunch of other constraints that can kind of control other aspects of geometry, such as controlling something to be a horizontal line or a vertical line. So I'll start by just drawing a rectangle. And what you can see when I draw that rectangle is various icons show up around it. And these are showing some of the constraints that are just automatically added by Inventor. Now, usually once you click off of that, they'll disappear. But you can right-click on the geometry and show all constraints, and you'll see them again. You'll see we have two parallel constraints, so they'll both highlight red and show that the top line and the bottom edge are parallel. Same with the right edge and the left edge. You can also see that the top edge and the right edge are perpendicular. That's what this icon shows. And that the top edge is horizontal. I can right-click on any one of these and delete it. So let's say I no longer want these two to be parallel. I right-click and delete that. And then if I select that corner, I can pull it out and make it a diagonal like that. So I'm going to do that again over here and show you some other constraints that can be used. I'm going to delete this perpendicular constraint and this parallel constraint and slide that so that it is angled as well. I'm actually going to use our traditional dimension tool here and click on these two edges and control that angle. We'll make it 50 degrees. And I've controlled that. Now, if I want this edge to line up with that edge, there's a constraint that can do that. It's this right here. It's a collinear constraint. So I'll click on both those edges, and now they form a line. And do that again down here. And we have a line there. Now, let's say I want to make these two parallel. Just use this parallel constraint, and now those two lines are parallel. The collinear constraint is also a useful way to put something right up against something else. So let's say I have a box here. We'll make it 1 inch by 1 inch. There we go. And I'll put another rectangle inside it, and we'll make it 0.5 by 0.5. Now let's say I want this, the bottom left corners of these two things to line up. There's actually a couple ways I can do that. One is that collinear constraint. Once again, click on those two edges, and it'll line up the left edge of this box with the left edge of the larger box, and same with the bottom right. The other constraint I could use would be this right here, the coincident constraint, and click on that, these two corners, and it'll lay those two corners right on top of each other. All right. So another useful constraint is the concentric circle. That's going to be good for any kind of arc. So let's say I make a 1 inch circle and a 0.5 inch circle, and I want this to be right in the center of that one. I can use this concentric circle constraint, and that will make one go right inside the other. So now I'm going to kind of use some constraints to create a more interesting, complicated piece of geometry. I'm going to start with a construction line. And I'm going to make that 1 inch across. And go turn off construction geometry and make a circle here. I'm going to make it 0.5 and 0.5. And we'll make another circle that is 1. And so what I want to do, I want to get this arc to kind of touch these two arcs. And so I'm going to use this tangent constraint. And what you can see there in the picture, the help menu there, is that when I use this constraint, it's going to pull a line so that it touches the edge of that circle just at one place. So we'll see how that affects it in circles. If I click on this circle and this circle, brings them in and touches, and then this one and this one, and it makes that shape. So I can also do that with a line, and the line doesn't have to be in any particular direction. I'm going to come in and make it tangent to this circle. That'll touch it at just one place. And then I'm also going to come in and do it to that circle as well. Now I can come in and trim a bunch of this geometry that I don't want anymore. And I have that shape there. Once again, if I want to put a small 0.25 circle in there, I could use this collinear or this concentric to put that hole right in the center of that arc. So I don't even need a full circle to use that constraint. All right, and so then that creates that shape. All right, so that is it for this video. Once again, you can come up here. As always, you can hover over these and get help. Play around with them. These are useful ways to constrain your drawings.